you, this is going to be in your second house, the house of values and possessions. So part of the house that rules values and possessions is how you value yourself. So at the same day, the same starting point at 0 degrees, we have two things happening at 0 degrees. We have Mercury going into retrograde. For you, this is in your 12th house. And then at the same exact time, we have Saturn going into Sagittarius in your second house. So I say this has a lot to do with either how you're valued or how, and this has something to do with relationships, partnerships, business unions. You're going to be broadening those areas because this is the takeoff point, right? This is Mercury going into retrograde at the same time Saturn's moving into Sagittarius. So it's like an explosion at the same time. Two powerful energies setting off a cascade of events. And so for you, the challenges, I'm going to divide this up into two different parts. So I'm going to give you an energetic reading, right? The starting point of the energetic reading. But I'm also going to give you the analytical background, the astrological aspects of it. So I'm giving you my empathic abilities as well as my knowledge of astrology. And not only am I doing that, I'm breaking the analytical part into two parts. So I'm going to tell you what the challenges that you face at the beginning of the transit when it's at that 0 degree mark. And then I'm going to tell you what the completion should be, the end result, the 29th degree of that. And that gives you an idea of how you're going to be broadened and opened up in this particular energy source. So for you, some of the challenges that you may face while it is in the lower degrees of this transit is that you may experience a loss of material possessions at first, or it may be a lack thereof. It may be you want to be here and you aren't there, and that's because, as I said before in your last time, I just think you lack the motivation to do anything about your situation. It's like you're in pause mode and you're introspective and you're in your head and you're taking the easy way out because Mercury goes into retrograde in Libra. And for you, when I did your energetic reading at the same time, I just felt like some of you are just being really diligent and lazy and leaving a lot up to the partnerships that you have in your life at this point. And you don't have the momentum to make the changes in your life. So I think how you value yourself, your perspective, your motivations may be in question. I think you need some reflection on that. So at first, I think you're just not at that status level that you want, okay? And how others value you may be significantly different than how you value yourself. I definitely think that you need a wake-up call in this area. I think sometimes you may tend to identify yourself through significant partnerships, preferably intimate partnerships, versus having your own identity. I think you're a strong and very confident person, but I do think that you hold back a lot of who you are and what you are because basically you have what you need or what you minimally desire. And so I think getting to that next level in life is going to be the challenge, how you're broadened. And then a loss of income or a decrease in income may be possible during this transit, meaning you may get a sudden shocking awakening that may shake things up a bit. So it could mean that you get a shocking awakening from your significant partner saying, you know what, you're not cutting it emotionally. Like, I get we're at this level monetarily, but I'm not fed emotionally. And that could be earth-shattering and a bit of an ego. It may just hurt you a little bit. It may give you an ego blow. So I think you've lost a little bit of the momentum, the strength to endure, the mental strength to move forward. And I think that this has significantly a lot to do with how you emotionally identify yourself. I think you live in your own little bubble primarily, but I think that you understand that it's like you lost track. You were on the right track, you were on the right road, and then something derailed you, and you lost the momentum to move forward, to energetically strive for more. And so I think what I think is going to happen between this 12th house Mercury at this exact point of like the burst of energy is that I think that there's going to be a spiritual awakening or an awakening in an area that's going to impact you emotionally and cause the emotional impact for you to want to change this scenario, reverse all of this energy and start turning it all around. And for many of you, that could be a shocking awakening in your foundation, in how you feel, how I think it has to do with your foundation. I think it has to do with who you're energetically connecting with. I think you're lowering your standards, and I think you need to turn that all around. So, and that will help you gain the momentum again. I think what you want and what you need may be redefined as your values may change. So I think for some of you, I think what you're going to start to value is your emotional commitment to yourself, right? Your emotional need to strive on your own, your inner strength and your stability. And I think when you get this little shakeup, this little awakening, I think you're at a point where energetically, I think you're getting it. But I think there's some hesitation. I think you just lack the momentum to continue forward, and I think you're struggling with that. But I do see this energetically turning around all for the better during this transit, because Saturn in Sagittarius is opportunity, right? It is a broadened perspective. So all of this energy turns around over this entire time. So goals and triumphant achievements of this particular transit is going to be opportunities for investments and endeavors may generate a stable outcome. So you may experience, even though you've had kind of a shakeup in your momentum, I think eventually you're going to stabilize your outcome. Absolutely, during this transit. I see that being powerful. Sorry, I have to move my legs because my butt's starting to get tired. As you redefine what you value and how you value what you value, your perspective encourages others to do the same. So I think you're going to be a very motivating factor where you used to lose some of your power and you used to let people define how you become motivated. I think for many of you, it's going to turn around dramatically because you're going to be an inspiration. They're going to look at you. You're going to set a trend in your significant relationships. Also, as you redefine how you invest in your financial outcomes, your income increases due to your new conservative approach. So I think moving forward, I think there's a commitment that you need to make to change where you're at. Instead of minimally, staying where you're at, because it's easy and it gets you, you're there right now. I think you're going to strive for something more, something bigger. And I think that you are going to have such monetary gains. I can't even tell you, I see this energy being so rich for you, emotionally fulfilling. If you just really let yourself evolve and you really start pouring yourself into the knowledge and moving forward and taking everybody with you and being the momentum that everybody else needs as well. And I think as you value yourself significantly more, it increases how you save money, how you persevere, how you manage investments, how you perfect your budget, and how you move forward to a wonderful outcome. So I think initially I think you are going to be so much further in about 2 years. Your hopes, dreams, and wishes it's going to flourish if you take on the challenge, right? If you listen to this, if you don't avoid, if you don't pretend like it's not there, then I think you are going to find that you're a whole different person in 2 years. 2 years is going to make a really big difference in your life. And I want to say, I'm talking in social status. I'm talking in your career, life, path, destiny, basically. But I think that's going to allow you to turn the pride around in yourself. You're going to be not only emotionally fulfilled, but you're also going to have the strength and the endurance to continue to move forward. You're not going to lose momentum so much anymore. Thank you so much for tuning into my rendition, my evaluation of this astrological event. I look forward to talking to you guys again in the next astrological event. Well, hello there, Sagittarius. This is actually a really cool reading for me because Saturn is moving into Sagittarius energy. And so you're going to have a really personal connection with Saturn over the next couple years. It's going to really be speaking to you. This is all going to be happening in your first house. So how you appear to others is significantly important because it's often how we connect with somebody. It's that first initial energetic connection that you get with others. And I think the challenge with that is outwardly appearing the same that you authentically do. And as a mutable energy, this is entirely more difficult because for you, I think you appear strong and appear like you've got everything under control. And I think you appear to be enlightened. And I think that you appear strong, but I think deep down there are many challenges in those actual energies that I just talked about. And I think something came up right around that lunar eclipse that happened on the 27th for you. And that may have really highlighted some vulnerabilities in your emotional perspective. So how you appear to others really got knocked off versus what you feel on the inside. So I think what happens is everybody sees you as being this confident, energetic creature that, is strong and doesn't have very many vulnerabilities. But I think what people don't understand about Sagittarius is that they're often deeper than they outwardly appear. And so somebody has questioned that, and it's made you very reflective about how you are. Like, there needs to be a point where you reach a balance and where you get as much as you give. And I think you're at this point, there's a dissatisfaction with how you outwardly get what you want or how others outwardly perceive you. So when Saturn moves into Sagittarius, when it's in its early degrees, and I want to talk about this with you because I like to match my knowledge of astrology with the energetic side of it. I think there's a balance that's attained between the two, and there's a reason why I have a lot of knowledge about astrology, but I also have an empathic connection. I mean, that's why people come to me. So when the energies in astrology are in 0 degrees, it's kind of like the beginning point of that transit. It is the beginning point of that transit. It's kind of like the starting line. And then as energy over the next couple of years moves to the 29th degree, and that's the point of completion. That is the end result. That is, your receive. Well, between about 14 and 29 degrees, but definitely between 17 and 29 degrees, there really is there's a big emphasis on all of the hard work paying off, right? But that is very difficult to understand when you're at this 0 degree mark. And I think to even understand at some point that there's even a problem is difficult, because at this point you're pretty firm in most of your opinions and your ego is set. So I think you're feeling pretty victorious and you're feeling like you got it beat. But I think over this next couple years, you're going to understand what this entire transit was all about. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you may face while you're in the lower degrees of this transit. For you, you may experience a loss of identity as you explore how others perceive you versus how you truly define yourself. So I think there is a feeling of inadequacy really, really deep down, right? But you feel but others perceive you as very lighthearted and confident and a leader and giving. But there is a sense of cocky self-satisfaction that lies within you. It's like you have to beat others in order to gain your self-esteem, right? So you have to kind of be better than others to feel emotionally triumphant. And I think you actually secretly deep down relish a little bit in the losses that others have at the expense of your gains. So I think that that's where you're going to get a deep little hand slapping by the universe as others start to catch up with where you're at and they start to get some recognition. And I'm not saying that, and I think when all of this happens, it's going to broaden your emotional fulfillment. But I think that no matter how hard you work, no matter what status that you get, no matter how far you go, there's always a sense of you can do more, you can do better, you can achieve more, you compare yourself to others, and I think you always feel less than at some point. So even though you portray confidence, I think at a point you're always secretly comparing, and so there's not a really big emotional balance that you have at this point. So there's getting a handle on all of that. You may suddenly become unhappy with the way that you look. I mean, I think you are comparing. You're not comfortable in your own skin. And so if others, the way that you gain acceptance is by, I don't know how many likes you get on Facebook, or how many likes you get on a video, or how many likes you get in life, or how many friends you have. And something came up around the lunar eclipse that really gave you a big perspective about all of this and about, it was a celebratory time, but I think that emotionally, so exteriorly, you had a celebratory time. But emotionally, I think there's some work to do. I really do. I think deep down, there's a sense of the fact that you've got to work a little bit more on balancing what you outwardly project versus what you inwardly feel. And you need to get vulnerable with some of the people in your life. So to others, you look freaking successful right now. You look badass. You look like you got it all down. You're giving back what you need to get. But there is something that you're denying, someone that you're denying, and it's almost like you'll give a little, but you won't give a whole lot, because, you'll give enough to get the recognition, but you're still not to that highly elevated mind experience. So you got some work to do. How you value yourself significantly increases as you learn how to protect. Scratch that. You may struggle with being truly authentic because what worked for you in the past suddenly is not supported by others. So I think some of you are going to start to see through this facade. I think some of you are going to get some of the people in your life are going to start to get really sick of the boastful part of you, and they need a little bit more from you emotionally. And I think that's where you're going to truly receive some of this broadening of perspective and this awakening in this particular transit. It's like nobody wants to be around that person that is just full of themselves. Really, truly, you want to know what the biggest turnoff for me? Cocky people. Can't stand them. Won't be around them. I avoid them, actually, because I don't admire people who think they're badass shit. It's like, yeah, you've got some great things going for you, but there are a lot of people that struggle with different things, and I'm glad that you have great success, but there are lots of challenges, and there's lots of reasons why people are where they are, so don't get so damn badass, and don't, everybody needs a fair opportunity, and you selecting people based on criteria it makes me sick. I'm not a fan of it. So I think you need to have a more temperate perspective. I think you need to have a more open perspective if you are in a point of success. And I know that emotionally you have your own trials with this because you're never quite good enough, right? And so I think emotionally, where you outwardly appear this bright, shining sun to everybody, I think you always have this monkey on your back of this not feeling good enough. So I have a sweet spot for that, but I can't be around somebody who's cocky and is always, I'm so sun, everything revolves around me, I'm so, it's such a turn off. So some of the ways that you can turn this energy around. So let's talk about what happens when the energy reaches completion. So we're talking more toward the 29th degrees, between 17 and 29th, or actually between 14 and 29 degrees. So let's talk about how you elevate from this particular transit. You may feel that you have significantly overcome some of your inability to be truly authentic with others. So showing people your vulnerabilities, showing people that you have weaknesses, showing people that you're so goal-oriented that at times it's very difficult for you to strive and strive and strive and strive. That is really going to gain you the recognition in the end, showing vulnerability. You know, you can portray life goes on and energy's always great and, you know, just persevere and rah, rah, rah. But the real world knows that's not the freaking way it is. There is suffering. There's tremendous pain. There's emotional turmoil. And you need to acknowledge those weaknesses in others for you to get. You want to know what gets you recognition? Start tapping into the fact that not everybody has a Jupiter experience with life. You know, if you really want to be the leader that you want to be, then start tapping into the fact that we all struggle in our egos, and you know this deeply, but you portray something different. You will find that others will want you to follow. Others will want to follow your lead if you show this sweeter, softer side. If you show them that challenges, if you show them how to overcome challenges. I mean, I think you can gain the following that you want by being a little less cocky. I mean, and I know you all freaking will dislike this video and hate it, but I don't really give a rat's butt because in the end, I'm freaking right. I am right. I mean, cocky is super unattractive. What's vulnerability to me is beautiful. I mean, flourishing when you had such strives to overcome, that's absolutely beautiful to me. That's personally me. That's my perspective. That doesn't have to be yours, but I'm just saying that it does it for me. I would follow a Sagittarius if they could show me that, you know, and I actually do. I love Christina Aguilera because she's so vulnerable in her music. But when I actually see her in interviews, she turns me off, I gotta say, but because she's such an attention whore. But when I see when I see what goes on in her music, when it's not portraying outwardly what America wants to see or what the world wants to see her look like, when I feel her music, I see her. I see the inside of her. And that to me is where the real beauty lies with her. It's why I love her. Every single music video she does, she's somebody that I just admire. I just don't admire her outward persona. I just, she really turns me off. So I wish she could match that, what her music says versus her outward persona. Then, whoa, she'd be explosive, truly. And as others perceive, as your perspective broadens, your identity sets trends that others follow in hopes to gain the same recognition that you have attained. So you set a trend if you're like that. And that's insanely important. I don't know what happened in the lunar eclipse for you, but it screams to me that it's something that it's a starting point. It's a reflective point. Use Mercury in retrograde to really take a look at that. Use that beautiful mind of yours, and with Jupiter just going in and just being on fire with Mars, really look at this from a broad perspective and don't be limited in this, and really allow it to seep in and energetically connect you, because you're a big deal for the next couple years. You're definitely a leader. You're setting a trend. You're moving forward. Thank you so much for tuning in to my perspective on this glorious transit. I look forward to talking to you guys again in the next astrological event. Hi Capricorn, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your Saturn in Sagittarius. I almost said Scorpio because it's been there for so long, but Saturn in Sagittarius energetic reading. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how I view energy. So how I view energy, and most astrologers view energy, is especially when it comes to these big transits, Saturn is an extremely slow moving planet, and for you, it's your planet. And it's moving into Sagittarius, and Sagittarian energy and Capricorn energy work well together. So I think for you, you're going to find this transit elevates you on just about every level. I mean, it's like you're catching a break. It's like you're winning the lottery. It really is about elevating you on a level that most people aren't going to get out of this, but you will, because you've worked really hard as a cardinal energy. You've been through a lot. And so it's about time for all of the energies to start paying off for you. And I think you're going to start seeing this in dividends. So for you, Saturn is moving into Sagittarius in your 12th house. And this is the house of the unconscious and where you suffer. This is about elevating and broadening that and removing some of those unconscious obstacles that prevent you from ultimate success. I think you've made significant exterior success as far as conscious success, but I think, and I think that outwardly, I think others would agree, but I think there's some internal perspectives that need to be refined and fine-tuned, and you'll find that over the next couple years, this will be a focus for you. So for you, when Saturn is in Sagittarius and it's in this 12th house, okay, so when energy is in 0 degrees, it's a beginning. It's a starting point. It's like you have an idea and then you come up with the iPod and it's $1 billion industry, right? But at first it starts out at the beginning. It starts out with a morsel. It starts out with an idea. And so for you, you're at the beginning. So this is 0 degrees. So this is about, I don't even think you understand what unconscious issues you have, right? Because you're not conscious of them. So how do you even understand that? So over a significant amount of time, these are going to start to be brought forward. And I think the way that this is going to happen for you is you're going to start to emotionally invest in your future. And you're not just going with the flow anymore. You're not just in constant crisis mode, but you're in recovery mode, and you're also in overcoming and setting forth goals that reach you emotionally. And when this happens, it unlocks doors that you're not always aware of, and it creates triggers. And sometimes we're not even aware of triggers that we have until they're triggered, right? And then you're like, oh crap, I just found a trigger of mine and I didn't even know I had it. So that's what you're going to be experiencing over the next couple years, but it's going to be really, really emphasized between about the 0 to 4 degree mark. I think that's when the highest amount of crisis is going to come for you. And since Saturn is such a slow moving planet, I think that, this is a process, and it's going to take a little while for you to figure out, you become conscious of your unconscious realms. When you're in the lower degrees, okay, so I want to combine the analytical side of the astrology side with my empathic energetic level side. I want you guys to get both perspectives, and then you can take from it what you need to, whichever one applies to you the most, right? So for you, astrologically, analytically, some of the challenges that you may face while the energies are on the lower degrees of this transit is you may experience challenges that may cause you to elevate your coping skills when faced with adversity. So many of you are going to figure out your triggers in the midst of some adversity, in the midst of somebody questioning or not wanting to move forward or not seeing your vision, or just by challenge. So that's how you figure out where some of these deficiencies lie. Some of this may have to do with weaknesses in character, may start to surface during this transit, and that may highlight the areas that you need to improve. And to me, I think a lot of this has to do with your past. I think as you're moving forward and you've combined your life and you have a new beginning, a brand spanking new beginning, and you see it down the line, I think for you, some of you may have very severe self-sabotaging behaviors, meaning when life starts going really good for you, you get a little bit cocky and you start to take advantage of where you're at, or you just plain blow it because, you know, it's easier. It's easier not to put enough emotional investment in it. The challenge is looking out at your life and putting faith in something after what's happened to you. The putting faith back into things and putting your heart back into it and feeling strong while moving forward is part of the scary part. I think you feel confident enough to do it, and as you do it, I think it starts to bring back some of all this past stuff. I think you're moving forward in general with that, but there's a sense of it's not quite behind you yet, and even though you can remove yourself and move forward from it, I think you're the one at this point holding yourself back. I think realizations of your weaknesses may cause some unconscious fears to increase. Absolutely. I really do. I think that's how we figure things out. And I think what happens is, you know, you're very selective with who and how you're emotionally investing, and maybe some of the people that you choose moving forward may test your boundaries and may make you set stronger boundaries so that you know that you can leave this behind, or you know that there's a way out, or you know that you're going to be okay. It's about what's happened in your past, especially in heart-based endeavors, and it's about looking forward. The expansion is forward, right? The fear and the issues that you have are all in these deep, dark places that you don't ever look. You know, you don't even have time to look. I mean, you're so busy moving forward that half the time you don't even know they're there until they're triggered. And so I think it's just a realization that those things even exist. And then once you understand it, it's like, how do you balance with the challenge with the knowledge to overcome? And as you have a great awakening, and I think many of you will, it may cause you to face some deep karmic past issues so that you can learn from these previous mistakes. So it is about a karmic past, right? And everybody has a karmic past. We all need to go through these things. They are all lessons. There are lessons that build us. They're all building blocks for us. But for some of us, we build these blocks around us into a wall, right? And for some of us, we use these blocks to set a really firm foundation, and we'll never do it again, and we'll learn from it. We'll leave what happened behind, and we'll take the fruits of the knowledge that we gained, and we'll move forward with it, and we'll embark on a new journey, and we'll have the faith in our confidence level to do that. But I think that's the challenge of this transit, is to don't emotionally, I mean, this is a heart-based endeavor, so don't allow the past and the knowledge of fear. See, it's so easy when you're a kid to go do something really stupid, right? Because you have no fracking knowledge, right? So you can stick your hand over a fire and you're like, they told me not to, but I'm going to fracking do it anyway. So you just stick your hand over that fire, right? And then it's like, holy hell, that hurt. And then you know, wow, knowledge is pain was associated with putting my hand over a burner. Guess I'm not going to do that again, right? So, but there's a lot of past pain. You were a person who went through a lot in these Pluto-Uranus squares. There was a lot of past pain for you to overcome. And even though many of you have become stronger, many of you are confident because of what's happened to you, and many of you have a balanced perspective, I still think there is a challenge in you are limiting yourself, you are holding yourself back. I think there's just that temperate balance that you're gonna face. So what are some of the goals and triumphant achievements that can happen once you hit that, between that 17th and 29th degree mark? Well, you can get closer to your achievements associated with your karmic past lessons. So you can take a look at your karmic past lessons and think and have a broadened perspective on it and be thankful for those karmic lessons. I know I am. I mean, I'm not necessarily thankful for the pain that was associated with them enough to make me want to change, but I'm definitely thankful that I finally understand that missing piece that was preventing me from moving forward. I'm very thankful for that. I just didn't like the pain associated with it. Some of your unconscious fears will be replaced with an interpersonal growth as you are awakened to your limitless possibilities. So this is, the world is your oyster. The only thing that holds us back is us, or a limited understanding of our potential. And I think as we let a little bit of us become vulnerable and we start to emotionally invest in people and we start to show people who we really are, I think that evolves into some emotional fulfillment in areas that you were possibly too empty to feel that in. I also think that you're at a point of deep introspection at the end of this transit, and it will inspire you to elevate your consciousness on a daily basis. So this is about being disciplined in staying in a state of gratitude, in a state of moving forward, in a state of perseverance, in a state of knowing that life can take something from you, but it gives back to you. It's that daily balancing perspective that's very important. So you'll take the good or you take the bad because eventually it'll be the good. I think you're going to get that through this whole thing. I think for some of you, because you had such a painful past and it happened when you were young, that many of you when you were young, I think it's very scary as an adult to think that because you repeated so many of these things for so long, these karmic lessons, I think it's very difficult for you to understand the whole point. But I think you will after this transit is over, after we hit that 29th degree mark, and between 17 and 29 degrees, it's like you're going to get it, and you're going to start to reap the beautiful rewards that is coming during this amazing transit at the very end. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again in the next astrological event. Hi Aquarius, this is your energetic reading for Saturn moving into Sagittarius. And so Sagittarian energy is really going to open and broaden your perspective. And for you, this is a really good energy. You connect really well with Sagittarian energy. And this is a point of complete transformation for you. When something happens to you, you don't stay down long. And when you've got such a blessing and energy really broadening you, and it's such a mutual energy, it's an energy that really accentuates the positive in you. We're talking about a tremendous period of growth for you. For Aquarius, when when Saturn moves into Sagittarius, it's going to be in your 11th house, and this is the house of friendships. Friends are going to be a really big turning point in your life. And it's going to elevate your status. So, and broaden your perspective and probably fulfill some of your hopes, dreams, and wishes in the end. This is going to be a good friend. So maybe if some of you had lost a significant partnership that was based on deception, as I talked about in the Mercury in retrograde on the very same day, I found there's something cool about your reading versus other people's readings that I really, really tuned in on. Okay, so Mercury goes into retrograde for you, and there was some energy, and this was in your 9th house when Mercury went into retrograde, and it was in Sagittarian energy, right? It was in, well, that's Sagittarius' energy. So at the same moment that Mercury was in retrograde in partnerships in Libra, when Mercury went into retrograde in Libra, on the very same day, Saturn goes into Sagittarius. So these are combined energies. They're going in to on the same day for a reason. They're complementing each other. So to me, what happened to you was a grave injustice. I mean, the deception that happened, if you experienced deception, was difficult, but easily turned around because Libra energy was the focus of Mercury in retrograde, and you're going to easily reverse its effects in this transit. So when energy first goes into a transit, it starts at 0 degrees and then it goes to 29 degrees. When it's at 0 degrees, that's the beginning, right? That's the turning point. That's the launch point. And then when it hits 29 degrees is the point of completion in an energy. So for you, at the very beginning, Mercury's in retrograde in Libra in partnerships, right? So it's allowing you to have some reflect about what's been going on with your partnerships, and for you, this Libran energy is not in a good spot for you. So a partnership or something may have deceived you, and I want to say that there was a point of deception in some sort of, whether it was a work-based partnership, whether it was a union, whether it was a legal issue. I mean, something happened, and I want to say that it goes back as early as in September. So when energy is in 0 degrees, I like to talk about what happens when energy goes into 0 degrees because that's the most challenging part of it. So in this particular energy, the biggest mile markers in this mutable energy source is 0 degrees, which is beginning. Then we have 4 degrees, which is like the time where the energy is being tested and is being re-emphasized. And then we hit about 17 degrees. 17 degrees is actually where the energy reiterates, but it also starts to kind of get to the point. It's like you reach the top of the hill and you start to walk down the hill, and then by the time you reach the 29th degree, you're at a point of completion. So, but Saturn is a very slow moving planet, and it takes a really long time for it to transition through all of these energies. So we have a really long lesson in this, and for you, this has to do with your 11th house. So if you are the type of person that keeps all of your foes your friends, you are going to get one life lesson after another until you stop doing that. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, right? And you will find that, I mean, and I see this a lot with Aquarius. It's like more the quantity means more to them. And even though these people just totally screw them over, it's like they keep them as friends. And I've never understood that, because once somebody really, really, really screws me over, they are no longer part of my circle. It's like, you don't deserve me. But I see Aquarius is just keep these people. So I think the challenge is if you were deceived, if you had been in a relationship and you decided to maintain a friendship, or if friendship deceived you and you can keep them as a friend, but you keep them at a distance. It's like, no, you've got to start drawing really hardcore boundaries. And I think for you, this is going to be a growth period. So So I'd like to talk about the analytical side, and I want to talk about the energetic side. The analytical side of this is when we're in 0 degrees in the challenge point. The challenges that could come from this transit is, when it's in the lower degrees of this transit, is that networking challenges may arise during the transit in areas such as clubs, organizations, social groups, and social media. So say something happened and it was you were involved with somebody and this person was really, really popular in your social group. And then there was a falling out and this person went around your back and kind of trashed you and made you the bad guy in this scenario. You could have took a hit in your friendship sector. Now, there was enough signs for you to know that you shouldn't have been investing in this person, yet you did it anyway. And so, yeah, you live and you learn. And that's one of the things that you may have had to learn, that they really have a dark side to their behavior when they don't get what they want. Friendships may be tested to see if they're karmic or if they're long-term friendships. People come into our lives on all different levels, but all of them are there for a reason. So friendships can elevate our status. They can give us opportunity, and they can provide us with strength and determination, and they can be our guides. Or they can be our downfall, and they can be our enemies. They can be our foes. So I think during this time, you're going to figure out these karmic relationships and who's your friends and who's your foes and how you proceed forward with friendships. Requirements for friends may drastically change during this transit as you awaken and broaden your perspective. I think absolutely. I think it's not going to be about quantity anymore as much as quality for you. And friendships maybe emphasize things that need to change in your life to elevate your purpose as to what you want to achieve. Absolutely. So as your friendships change, as your lifestyle changes, as your emotional investments change, so does the perspective. People introduce so many amazing things into your life. That's why when people hermit in and go in these, and they hide from people, they don't really grow. Because people bring opportunity, they bring elevating conversations, they bring awareness to our life. And, the house of others mirrors where we're at. And so if we're attracting a lot of negative people, then often that's our barometer that we're not in the right place. And so it's really expansive to pay attention to all of your friendships and see if you're at a point of chaos, or if you're at a point of really very full relationships, because that will tell you where you're at in life. So energetically, okay, so that's the analytical part of this. Energetically, I think you're willing to walk away and you're willing to say, screw it. But you're looking back and even though there is a victory in knowing that you'll be okay and you'll move forward, there's a sense of completion in the month, especially in the month of September, at this end month of September after this eclipse season. I think deep down there was an injustice, and the small victory that you had, I don't think it quite cuts the way that you deeply feel. So I think even though you had a victory, I think that there is some knowledge that really pulls at you. It was almost like you were innocent and now you're not. And it can be very disturbing in balance for you to see that. And so it may make you shy away from moving forward and accepting new opportunity because you know the cost of making a poor decision. And up to this point, I think you're used to getting your way, and used to panning it out, and you're used to talking your way out of a paper bag, that I think at this point, it was a lot for you to go through. And I do think that opportunity will help you. I do think friends will help this happen for you. But I think at this point, you're kind of shying away from that in the early degrees. And you're really introspective. You really need to, I think you need more knowledge. I think you need to pull more from what happened to you. And I think you need to you've always been independent, but I think emotionally, you're a little bit barren right now. And you're a little overconfident about where you're at. And I think a broader perspective is going to change all of this. And I'm really happy that Saturn is going into Sagittarius to help you feel that out. Because some of the goals and triumphant achievements from this particular transit, when it starts getting in the elevated status, the elevated degrees of this, the higher vibration of this energy, is that, you know, you're going to develop a brand new set of friends. And I think as you overcome some of these emotional burdens, so outwardly you're going to appear like you got your crap together, right? Inwardly, there's some heartbreak and pain associated with this. And emotionally, you're guarded. And there's an imbalance in you. So as you progress forward, you turn all of those energies around. And you get to a point where you know you can be alone, and you know that you're safe, and you know that everything relies solely on you, but you're not as protective. It's like you're emotionally as strong as you outwardly are. And, you know, defeat doesn't give you the emotional high five that you needed, or the emotional motivation anymore. What really motivates you is just an internal strength, really feeling how you outwardly appear to others. Friendships can develop during this transit that will open doors and create tremendous opportunity. It's not right now. Right now is a point of you're holding back, you're not taking some opportunities, you're waiting for that perfect opportunity. You're kind of just trying to get in the mode of feeling victorious where you are. You've overcame something. It's made you a little bit emotionally isolated. And, you know, you're just trying to build back your ego and trying to move forward, and you're still a little wounded. So when it starts out in 0 degrees, I mean, you're not at that point yet. Friendships can easily during this transit turn into some of the best relationships you're ever going to have as far as in love. So even though somebody took advantage of your heart and of your friendship and of your giving nature, and it has left you emotionally scarred, the one good thing about this is that you'll never do it again. You'll take your time. You won't just take any opportunity that comes your way. You will set a certain amount of boundaries that somebody has to meet. You will never be here again. Okay, you'll never get here again. And I think for you, it's building a life that you're proud of. It's a long journey, but I think you're willing to start out fresh with no mistakes in it. I mean, I think you're willing to move forward. I think the emotional commitment will come over time. For the most part, ego is going to push this along, but then I think you're going to gain the emotional momentum to make this truly flourish. That is my energetic reading for Saturn moving into Sagittarius for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you again in the next astrological event. Hi Pisces, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for Saturn moving into Sagittarius. And for you, this is going to be in your 10th house of your career, life, path, destiny. So, I like Sagittarius. You know, Pisces energy and Sagittarius energy work really well together. And I think for the most part, you like somebody taking the lead. So I think all of this energy is going to be really good for personal growth for you. it's a death to an old mindset, but I think you're adaptable and ready for that. Your expansive mind can already absorb easily the messages that Saturn tries to give when it's in these transits. So for you, I think this is going to be a relatively easy transit. It'll have its challenges, but for the most part, I think that, you know, it's going to be it's just going to broaden your perspective when it comes to uniting yourself and in partnership energies. So let's talk about this. So, okay, for one, anytime an energy goes into a major transit like this, it starts out at 0 degrees and then it goes to 29 degrees. So 0 degrees is the beginning, 29 degrees is the point of completion. 4 degrees is the point where we get some epiphany, some event, some awakening in that energy to reiterate where we're supposed to go. And then when we hit about 17 degrees, and this is just in the Sagittarius transit, but when we hit about 17 degrees, that's a point of how we doing. If we're doing good, obstacles are removed, and then we start to get some of the fruits of these labors start to pay off. And then by the time we hit the 29th degree, we're looking pretty good. Saturn is being a benefic planet instead of a malefic planet. So for you, so I love the analytical side. I like to balance knowledge with energy because that just makes more sense to me as an energetic reader. And so astrologically, this transit means, so when it's in 0 degrees, what it means is it's the challenges that at first you have to endure before you get to that benefic status. So when Saturn is malefic, is that professional goals may suddenly shift, and it could be an unforeseen obstacle that you are not quite aware of. I think for you, I see it being that it's not about getting ahead anymore. It's not about extreme progression. It's about being happy where you are. It's about being energetically connected to where you are. It's about a slow, steady journey, and it's about you're really looking at this with a childlike enthusiasm, and you have a lot of emotional momentum tied into where you are at right now, and your ego is pretty strong. So I think this is really going to expand and really elevate your life. And I don't see this to be an extreme monetary gain as far as in your career, life, past destiny. I see this as being a highly energetic spiritual journey for you. I think faith is going to be tested at some point during this transit. And it will be the death of an old mindset. And it will be, I think you're going to energetically connect more with the intuitive side of life, the simple sides of life. And you're going to get strength in your mind during these next couple years. And the key for this is to give you peace and serenity. And for you to emotionally invest and for you to feel safe doing so when you're at your most vulnerable is to be really, really safe with this. And so the expansion is going to come with this emotional investment that you've made. It's really expanding you. So for you, career, I don't think is emphasized as much as your life path destiny, as your general energetic connection with the universe. You may experience a loss of control over your overall circumstances as you are redirected and asked by the universe to redefine your career, life path destiny. So this is about knowledge. This isn't about monetary gains, and it's not about a monetary investment, but it really is about an energetic connection, a peace of mind that's attained through ease of life, not through struggle anymore. You may find that others challenge your vision and perspective and unique career path, life path destiny you wish to embark upon. I think for some of you, the people that are career based and are monetary based, I think you're going to show them a whole new mindset, and you're going to show them that there's more to life, an introspective point in life, an energetic connection that they can have. I mean, you're going to really expand in an area that is really elevating to others. You're going to broaden everybody's perspective by you being broadened in this area. So you're going to be very motivating. And confusion may be felt during this time, I think. I think balance is going to be something that you'll strive for. I think learning how to emotionally connect to something and stay on one track. I mean, you do have a tendency to go off at 400 different ways, but I think as you solidify your future and as you start to emotionally invest and as you start to feel more secure in your home and family, I think you're going to start to energetically turn everything around as you figure everything out, as you figure out your purpose, as you know, it's not you're scattering your energy anymore. It's you're directional, finally, with your energy. So some of the goals and triumphant achievements that you can have during this transit is you're broadening your perspective, and creative inspiration may inspire others to follow your lead. I definitely think for many of you, I think they will be broadened in this. They will understand that there's more to life on an emotion-based level than just some monetary gains. I mean, you're going to get to them. And in the end, the payoff will be a monetary gain, right? But it will be based on emotion. So when you find that person, right, that compliments you. So if you're a female Pisces and they get that you're energetically connected and that you have a realistic perspective about where you want to be monetarily, and then, or if you're a male, you'll find a female that will get you energetically. So as you become more energetically connected, as you become awakened in these energies, as you start to rely on your intuition and it opens you up to something bigger than I think you understand, I think you're going to find that perfect person that will go along this emotional journey with you and will validate you on every level. You don't have to hide parts of you anymore to feel accepted. You're going to have this new open perspective. So it's a completion to a cycle at this point. When we get to the end, when we get to the 29th degree, the point of completion, I think you're going to have everything you want. And I think some of your wants and needs are going to change, as they all do when you become enlightened. But I really see strength and determination. So I see Earth energy. I see Leo fire-based energy is a big one. And, Libra energy, Cancer even is in here. So water-based energy is highlighted, but I really see, I see Leo, and I see an earth-based energy, and I see Libran energy in reverse. So I see for some reason that energy source, I don't know if you just need to seek some balance and you're not quite there yet, but the point of completion that I'm talking about is that I think you get a broad perspective over everything, and they get you. They just get you on every single level. Do you know how amazing it is to find somebody or to pursue something in your career life path destiny? Say this is a career, and you're not making your career-based endeavor on money. You're making it on passion. You're making it on fame. You're making it on fortune. That could be the Leo-based energy that I see in this moving forward like that. The 10th house, the top of your chart, is it could mean recognition, right? With some monetary gains that's associated with it. But it could be tremendous emotional fulfillment moving forward by just taking a leap of faith and having a little bit of risk involved with this new mindset. That's absolutely some of the energy that I can see in this particular transit. Anyhow, you guys, thank you so much for tuning into Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again about the next astrological event.